So a few weeks ago, I made a post about selling over asking price. And I basically said that it really doesn't matter all that much. For us, we never really promote selling over asking. And here's why. I'm gonna expand on that a little bit. And the reason I think it's important to expand on this is because we get a lot of people, like the public, who looks at that and actually kind of like takes it as very indicative of what the market is at this time, right? And while there is a correlation, right? Like when things sell over asking, for the most part, you are most likely in a seller's market in that area, right? That's pretty apparent. If you're taking that strategy, then most likely it's the seller's market. Does that matter? Yes. Does it matter if you sold it for $500 or $600 or $200,000 over the asking price? Not really, because that asking price is somewhat arbitrary. If you listed a house at $10 and it sold for $1 million, right? What does that tell you? Like, was the house worth $1 million? If it was, then really what does it tell us? What you really want to look at is like, how much did it sell over either what the agent was really expecting it to sell for, right? Based on the comparables that he had on hand, based on the analysis he or she made, based on what, even the seller may have thought that the house was worth. That makes a difference, because that's telling us, well, did it sell for a lot higher than 3, 4, 5, 6 comparable homes that sold last week or 4 weeks ago sold for? And then that tells us that there is some increased pressure on pricing, and that the trajectory or the trend in terms of pricing is on the rise. That tells a lot more than selling over asking price, because again, like I said, if the house is worth X and it sells for X, then what does that really mean, right? But again, if it sells for more than what an educated person, an informed person thought it was going to sell for, then that starts telling you a bit more about pricing, and it could tell you a bit more about maybe what that realtor is doing to sell the house, right? If the house is being prepped well, shown very well, if the negotiations were on point, and they were able to get more than what we really thought that was worth, then that's telling something. But just sold over asking doesn't really tell the full story, if much of the story at all.